Good morning, students. Welcome to the next class of thermodynamics. So, in this class, we first proceeds through the limitations of first law of thermodynamics. Okay. So, first one, that is, what are the limitations and how such limitations can be removed. That means I am telling about the introduction of a second law of thermodynamics. Why we enter into second law of thermodynamics? Due to some major drawbacks obtained in first law. Okay, so let us discuss what are few drawbacks observed in first law of thermodynamics. That is, limitations of first law of thermodynamics. First law of thermodynamics. So the first point, first limitations, it only deals with the feasibility of a chemical change. So first one, it never explains, it does not mean that there are so many chemical reactions, and all chemical reactions never proceed to completion. Okay, there is no, all the reactants can convert it into products. 100% products are obtained. That means all the reactants get consumed in a chemical reaction. It does not mean that there are so many chemical reactions which never proceed to completion. It cannot explain what is the reason behind it. So that is first one. It cannot explain. It cannot explain certain about the reactions which never proceed to completion. And the second major drawbacks, that is, it was silent about the information regarding the direction of flow of heat or direction of flow of energy, from which specific region energy can be transferred to which specific region. It was silent about that. I can write over here, it was silent about the direction of flow of energy. So energy means heat energy. Next important point, it cannot explain about the 100% efficiency of heat engine. That means according to first law of thermodynamics, we know, suppose certain amount of energy is supplied to a system, then it is utilized in two ways, in terms of work, and another one is in terms of internal energy change, you can say. So what we are writing over there, that means Q is equal to del U plus W. That means whatever the certain amount of heat that is supplied to system, it is used in increasing internal energy. That means in case of internal energy of the system, and also whatever the work done associated with it. But it never provides us any information whether whatever the energy is supplied to the system, it is completely used in work done. That means del U becomes 0, not like that. It only provide information that this energy is used in two ways, either increasing internal energy and your work done. Okay, so I can write over here, it does not provide any information about 100% efficiency of heat engine. This law also one major drawbacks is there, it cannot explain why certain processes are spontaneous and irreversible. Process means there are so many natural processes you can consider. That means flow of water downhill. Okay, so conversion of by transfer of heat from hot body to cooler body. So it never explain, it cannot explain why certain processes are spontaneous and irreversible. So these drawbacks provides the potential to proceed to the second law of thermodynamics. Clear? Next we will discuss what is spontaneous process and non-spontaneous process. Spontaneous process. Spontaneous process means these are the processes which occurs by their own. No external agency is required. It automatically occurs. These are mostly natural in nature. Okay, so I can write over here the process which occurs by its own, or you can say which is or having natural tendency to occur or after some proper initiation under a given set of condition, is known as a spontaneous process. A spontaneous process. That means all natural processes. Okay, I can write over here all natural processes are spontaneous and irreversible also. Irreversible. Next, a spontaneous process can be instantaneous, that means very fast, or you can consider it as a slow process. Okay, so I can write over here a spontaneous process can be instantaneous or it can be a slow process, slow in nature. It can be instantaneous or slow. So proper initiation means spontaneous process, it doesn't mean that it occurs just by itself. There are some processes which needs proper initiation. Once it gets started, then it continues. Okay, so I can consider few examples of a spontaneous process that can be written as spontaneous process where without proper initiation. So example of this category, very simple, that is you can say melting of ice into liquid water. Example, I can write melting of ice. So ice, H2O solid converted into H2O liquid. It's a spontaneous process. Again you can say evaporation of liquid water it's also a spontaneous process. H2O liquid converted into H2O gas. This one is also a spontaneous process. Next, water flows down a hill. Clear? And another natural process you can say intermixing of gases, or you can say diffusion of gases. Diffusion of gases also a spontaneous process. Formation of hydrogen iodide H2 gas plus I2 gas giving rise to 2HI. This one also a spontaneous process where no initiation is required. Next you can say flow of heat from a hot body to cold body. This is also a spontaneous process. Another spontaneous process you can consider a formation of suppose 2NO plus O2 giving rise to 2NO2. This one also a spontaneous process. So these are various processes which occurs by itself and no proper initiation is required. Next, examples of second category about spontaneous process, that is examples where initiation is required. Initiation is required. For example, I can write formation of water from dihydrogen and oxygen. Formation water H2 gas dihydrogen plus dioxygen. So here some initiation in the form of electrical spark. Electrical spark is required for the formation of liquid water. That clear? Next, combustion of carbon to carbon dioxide. Combustion of carbon to carbon dioxide. That can be written as carbon solid O2 gas giving rise to CO2 gas. So proper ignition is there. Ignition is required. Ignified you can say, or ignition. Next, similarly, oxidation of methane, combustion of any hydrocarbon, combustion of methane, you know, CH4 gas plus O2 gas giving rise to carbon dioxide plus water. Here also ignition is required. Unless any ignition, this reaction cannot be started. So once it gets started, then it will continue. That's why this is spontaneous in nature. And again, the decomposition of calcium carbonate also. Decomposition of calcium carbonate, can write like this: CaCO3. Upon heating, it will give you calcium oxide plus O2 gas. Sorry, CO2 gas. So these are the processes where some initiation is required, but provided all these are spontaneous in nature. Then let us define the term non-spontaneous process. Non-spontaneous process. So it is completely opposite to that of a spontaneous process. Spontaneous process which occurs by itself, but it has no tendency to occur by itself. The process which is no natural tendency to occur by itself, known as a non-spontaneous process known as a non-spontaneous process. Suppose flow of water downwards, that is, it has natural tendency and is regarded as a spontaneous process. So what about the flow of water from down to over tanks of water? That is, for example, flow of water from down to over tank of water. That is a non-spontaneous process. Electrical energy you are using, artificially you are doing it. So this is a non-spontaneous process. So next you can say, suppose I am telling the flow of heat energy from a colder body to hot body. Is it possible? No. The flow of heat from a cold body to hot body, that is a non-spontaneous process. Another I can consider diffusion of gases or intermixing of gases generally occurs from low pressure to high pressure. So what about from low pressure to high pressure? Is it possible? No. I can write over here, diffusion of gases from low pressure to high pressure, low pressure to high pressure is a non-spontaneous process. Clear? So this is the definition and examples of spontaneous and non-spontaneous process. Now it's a big question that why certain processes are spontaneous. What is the factor that is responsible for spontaneous process? Why water always flows downwards? Okay, why heat flows from a region of high temperature to region of low temperature? Why all this happening without any external agency? What is the factor responsible for it? Which one is the reason behind all these natural phenomena? So that is called a driving force. Driving force. Write down, that is driving force. Driving force of spontaneous process. So what is driving force? The force which is responsible, the force which is responsible for the spontaneity of a process, for the spontaneity of a process is known as driving force. So driving force in the sense I can explain over here. For example, water is present above at the top, that means it is at high potential energy. Whenever it flows down, why? What is the reason behind it? Its driving force is because water need to stabilize, need to stay at low potential energy. Okay, so due to the flow of water from top to the bottom, what happens? The potential energy becomes minimum and every system needs to be stay in its low potential region, low potential energy region, so that the system is stabilized. I can write over here, water flows downwards in order to have minimum potential energy. Why? Suppose two bodies are contacting each other at different temperatures. So why heat flows from hotter one to colder one? Because so that the net heat content becomes minimum. Is that clear? So here I can see, right over here, flow of heat takes place from high temperature region to low temperature region, so that the net heat content of the system becomes minimum. So that the net heat content of the system becomes minimum. So what is the idea over here? What is the reason behind the spontaneity of all these processes? The reason is every system tends to remain at low energy state. So what is the condition or criteria for a spontaneous process? That is, every spontaneous process has a tendency to acquire minimum energy. So what is the reason? Fact, that is, every spontaneous process has tendency, every spontaneous process has tendency to acquire minimum energy. I can write minimum energy, because minimum energy means higher stability. Minimum energy signifies higher stability. So the stability of the system will be more. So you just remember first condition, first criteria of spontaneity, that is the tendency to acquire minimum energy. The tendency to acquire minimum energy. This is very important. You just remember it. And one thing I need to explain over here, there are certain chemical reactions which are particularly exothermic in nature. Okay, there are certain chemical reactions which are exothermic in nature. So exothermic reaction means, I have told you, the reaction in which the heat energy is evolved, that is called exothermic reaction. So due to evolution of energy from the reaction mixture, definitely it becomes stable because energy decreases. For example, this one is also a spontaneous process, that is dinitrogen treated with hydrogen, it will give you 2NH3, formation of ammonia gas, and this reaction is particularly exothermic in nature. Del H minus 92.4 kilojoule per mole. Clear? So this exothermic reaction, del H negative value indicates that the reaction is exothermic and energy of the system, energy is released as a result of this chemical change. So the system becomes, the reaction mixture becomes stable. That clear? So for a spontaneous process in terms of chemical change, the general idea over here, for a spontaneous process, process means generally chemical change or chemical reactions. Okay, the change in energy, enthalpy, the change in energy, the change in enthalpy I can write, that is del H should be negative, del H should be negative. But there are certain processes which are endothermic in nature. Endothermic means energy is absorbed but still they are spontaneous. For example, I can write over here, there are certain endothermic reactions which are spontaneous in nature, which are spontaneous in nature. Clear? For example, evaporation of water, evaporation of water, H2O gains heat, get converted into H2O gas. So del H here, that is positive, endothermic, and spontaneous also. This reaction is spontaneous. Again, I can consider the decomposition of a calcium carbonate, beta. Decomposition of calcium carbonate, CaCO3, we are supplying certain heat, then it get converted into calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide gas. So here this one also del H having positive value and endothermic, but still this process is spontaneous. So right now a big confusion is there. For spontaneous process, what I have told you, del H should be negative, but there are certain endothermic reaction where the process becomes again spontaneous. So in that case I can write del H should be positive. So that means from here it is clear that the enthalpy change cannot decide the spontaneity of a process. Okay, so here the conclusion is the energy change or the enthalpy change only cannot decide the spontaneity of a process. Right now the conclusion is the enthalpy change only can't able to explain the spontaneity of a process. That means this enthalpy change is not the sufficient condition to explain the spontaneity of a chemical change. So definitely there must be some another factor which is responsible to explain the condition of a spontaneity or the spontaneity of a chemical change. That is called, again, there are some chemical changes where the enthalpy change is zero. That means no heat, neither heat is absorbed nor heat is released, but still these processes are spontaneous. For example, that is esterification reaction. Suppose CH3COH plus C2H5OH, acetic acid plus ethyl alcohol, till gives you ester CH3COOC2H5 plus H2O. This reaction del H, that is equal to 0. Neither heat is absorbed or released, but still this process is spontaneous. So not only the enthalpy change is not only the best criteria to explain the spontaneity of a chemical change, because there are so many processes where del H is negative, del H is positive, and del H becomes 0, but still the processes are spontaneous. Now the second factor, that is the tendency to acquire maximum disorderness. Second factor that is responsible for spontaneity, the tendency, very important, the tendency to acquire maximum disorderness or randomness. That means every process tends to move spontaneously from a lower probability to higher probability state. That means every process has tendency to move from a lower probability state to higher probability state. That is the condition of spontaneity. So lower probability to higher probability state means, just see, suppose I am considering there are two containers filled with two different gases and fitted with a stopcock over here. Clear? So suppose I am considering here neon gas. In this container I have taken neon gas, and in this container I have taken helium gas. Whenever this stopcock is get opened, then what happens? These two gases diffuse with each other or get intermixed with each other. So right now it is symmetrical. Here is only neon gases are there, and here only helium gases are there. Whenever this separation is removed, these two gases allowed to intermix with each other, then what happens? Is there any symmetry? No. Is there any specific place in the container that neon gases are there and helium gases are there? No. So after intermixing, what happens? The system becomes like this. Just see. After mixing, what happens? So the two gases uniformly intermix with each other, because you know the gas molecules are very away from each other. There are so many intermolecular spaces, they can easily get intermixed with each other. So right now you just see here there is a random distribution of two gas molecules. So system needs to transfer from a region of low probability to a region of high probability. This is called randomness or disordered state, from a ordered state to disordered state. So system needs to remain at maximum random state or disordered state. You see why evaporation of water is spontaneous. You can explain like this: H2O that was liquid converted into H2O gas through evaporation. So you know the arrangement of a particle is little bit of a close in case of water, because it is in the form of a liquid. In case of liquid, molecules are associated with some force of attraction. Okay, but whenever as a result of evaporation it get converted into gaseous state. So gaseous state means molecules are very away from each other. There is no force of attraction, so they move randomly with respect to all directions. So from ordered state to it converted into more disordered state. For example, that chemical change just I have discussed right now, that is decomposition of a calcium carbonate. You just see the state of reactants and products, you see. So that is calcium carbonate that was initially a solid. Whenever it is subjected to heating through proper initiation, then it gets decomposed into calcium oxide solid plus carbon dioxide gas. Look at the reactant side, it is a solid. Solid means particles are very closely packed, particles are not free at all. Look at the product side, this spectra is solid, but what about this one? This is gas. So gas means molecules are randomly moving towards all directions. So more disordered state is at the product side. So the system is like this because it needs to remain at higher probability state, that is called as your randomness state or more disordered state. So the condition or the criteria of spontaneity we have got after this discussion, that is every system tends to acquire its minimum energy state and its disordered state. So these two are the conditions of spontaneity till now I have discussed. So the conditions of spontaneity I can write over here. Conditions of spontaneity, that is first one, every system tends to acquire its minimum energy state, that is in terms of enthalpy I can write del H, that should be negative. Second, that is every system tends to remain in its maximum degenerative state, or you can say randomness state. Randomness state. So these are the criteria for spontaneity. Okay, whenever these two factors, this randomness factor, it is represented by del S, change in entropy. This randomness is nothing but entropy. We will discuss just right now. So whenever these two factors, so del S should be positive. Maximum randomness means del S should be increases, that should be positive. So whenever these two factors we are considering, whenever one is absent, then the second factor explains its spontaneity. Suppose del S is absent, del S you can consider. Suppose del H is absent, del S you can consider. Whenever two enthalpy change, energy change as well as entropy change is there, then we have to focus which factor is predominating over there in order to express the spontaneity of that process. So the second factor, that is degenerateness, refers to a thermodynamical physical quantity that is called entropy. So next, that is entropy, it is designated by S. The thermodynamical property, the thermodynamical property which measures the randomness or degenerateness of a system is called entropy. Is called entropy. Mathematically, it can be expressed as, that is entropy can be expressed as del S, that is equal to Q by T. So its unit you can write from this expression, that is Joule Kelvin inverse. Why I have written del S? That is change in entropy, change in degenerateness of the system, because this one is a state function. You can't measure its absolute value. That is, next I can write characteristics. Characteristics of entropy. I can write the absolute value of entropy cannot be determined. However, the change in entropy can be determined. However, the change in entropy can be determined. It is an extensive property, that means it depends upon the quantity of matter present in the system. Entropy is an extensive property and it is a state function. It is a state function, that means depends upon the initial and final state, that is depends on initial and final state of the system. That means del S, that is equal to S final minus S initial. This is the introduction of entropy. Suppose a system, I am considering about an isolated system. So isolated system means there is no exchange of matter and energy inside to the system with respect to its surrounding. Clear? Again, so before that I need to explain over here. For a spontaneous process, remember del S should be greater than 0. That is, del S should be positive. Increase in entropy, increase in dejourness. Just I have explained through examples that the final state should be maximum dejourness state than that of initial one. So S final should have more dejourness than that of S initial. This is the condition of a spontaneous process. So till now 3 cases are there. Del H should be negative, and the second one, that is dejourness or randomness, that is del S, should be beta positive. So these are the two cases we have got. Now if a system, isolated system I am considering, or in case of isolated system, since no energy is entering to the system, that is completely separated from the surrounding, so in that case I can say that for an isolated system del S becomes 0. For an isolated system del S becomes 0 because no energy is entering into the system. Suppose a system is there, this one, and it absorbs certain amount of energy Q from the surrounding, then definitely the energy of the system becomes more. So dejourness and randomness, that is system, let a system absorbs Q amount of heat from surrounding, then definitely the randomness of the system becomes more. That is called del S system, that is equal to Q by T. Simultaneously the surrounding loses Q amount of heat, so del S surrounding, that is equal to minus Q by T. Clear? So total del S of universe, that is equal to del S system plus del S surrounding, that will be equal to Q by T minus Q by T, that is equal to 0. So del S becomes equal to 0, and this one is for a reversible process. For a reversible process, this criteria is for a reversible process. Clear? For an adiabatic process, what is our expectation for an adiabatic process? You see, in case of adiabatic process there is no exchange of heat, that is Q is equal to 0. For an adiabatic process Q is equal to 0, no heat is absorbed by the system or not leave by the system. So you can directly write del S, that is equal to del S system plus del S surrounding, that is also equal to 0. Let us consider the entropy changes in an irreversible process. So this is reversible process where the entropy change you have got 0. So for an irreversible process, entropy change for an irreversible process. Suppose this one is a system having temperature T1 and its surrounding having temperature T2. If I consider T1 is greater than T2, then heat will flow from system to surrounding. Heat will flow from system to surrounding. Then what will be the del S system? Dejourness decreases, that will be equal to minus Q by T. Since the surrounding absorbs certain amount of energy, so del S surrounding becomes plus Q by T. So total del S universe, tell me, del S universe, that is equal to del S system plus del S surrounding, that will be equal to del S system, that is minus q by T1 plus q by T2. So I can directly write over here minus q by T1 plus q by T2. So that will be equal to T1 T2. So finally I can write T1 minus T2, that will be, since condition is T1 is greater than T2, that means T1 minus T2 is greater than 0, that will be positive. So positive means del S total or del S universe is greater than 0, that is positive. For any reversible process we have got del S is equal to del S total becomes 0, but irreversible process you have got del S, that is positive. Clear? So for today's class we have discussed the condition of various spontaneous process, go through that, okay, and in the next class, that is last class, I will try to finish this chapter thermodynamics. Thank you for your kind attention. Okay, bye bye.